This is Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance, and we are joined by Jackie Lacey. She is the District Attorney for Los Angeles County. And we just celebrated the 14th anniversary of 9/11. And what I recall after 9/11 was that there was a real reservoir of goodwill towards those working in law enforcement, be it prosecutors, be it police officers, firefighters.
Yeah.
I feel as if this decade, that reservoir has gotten a lot smaller. I want to talk to you about how you, as a chief prosecutor, are trying to work with the community in such a way so that reservoir can build back up again.
Right. Well, I've been in the business of criminal justice now since 1984.
Wow. Yeah.
I've lived
You've
through
seen a
Rodney
lot, right.
King. I've lived through a lot of things. And we have to remember to have the long view. It ebbs and flows. And to some degree, of course, we are influenced by the transparency that we crave, because with everyone having a cell phone camera, we're able to see police work like we've never seen it before, up close, personal, uncut, raw. And I still believe that even though there are instances where the community doubts that the police are squarely within their mission to protect and to serve, for the most part, you ask the average person, they're still calling 911. They're still calling the police when they need help. They're still counting on prosecutors to bring home justice. And so we have to be, I think, careful about this myopic
Well
view.
stated.
Right.
Well stated.
And it does ebb and flow.
I do want to ask about those 911 calls, though, because we do know that some members of our community, especially in California, are reticent to call 911 for reasons that deal with their status or perceived status in terms of documentation.
Yeah.
You could have a legal resident who should be in this country and is very nervous about interacting with a prosecutor, interacting with a police officer. That's got to present challenges for you.
Yeah, it provides some challenges. We try as prosecutors to reassure witnesses, victims of crime, that we're not interested in their status. We're interested in what did you see and what can we do to help and make sure crime is addressed. We do a lot through, for instance, Spanish media, because we want people to understand that we're not ICE, we're not immigration. We're just about seeking justice, no matter who the person is, who the victim is, or no matter who the witness is.
And even aside from the immigration question, so many folks who may be new to our country, legally or not, they come from nations with oppressive governments.
Yeah.
They don't want to interact with the government at all.
Yes.
And so that's a whole other set of challenges.
Right.
How do you get beyond that barrier?
You're right. They come from some very corrupt countries where the police are not your friend, and that they are in bed, for instance, with the drug cartel.
Right, exactly.
Right? All we can do is do our job very, very well, publicize all the good that we do. We put out, in the DA's office, we probably put out 2 or 3 press releases a day.
I know. I get them, and I enjoy them. I enjoy them.
But we're speaking through you, Brad, to the public. We're speaking to that immigrant through the television and letting them know that we're there to help and we're there to serve, and we have a mission, which is to protect the community by the ethical pursuit of justice and the safeguarding of victims' rights. And so all we can do is continue to do our messaging.
And when we think about the mood of the nation, there are racial tensions between law enforcement and community.
No doubt.
Maybe I'm being Pollyanna. I feel as if in California, not quite as severe. Then again, I'm not in the street.
Well, policing has changed. I mean, the term of community policing, the arrival of Bill Bratton changed LAPD's image so much. And we have to remember, right now, if you were to line up every LAPD officer and looked at them, more than 50% of them would be Latino. And people do not realize realize that.
What about prosecutors?
Same thing with prosecutors.
Okay.
LA County has the most, I'm proud to say, the most diverse population of prosecutors. We are ahead of the state in terms of women and women in leadership positions, but certainly people of color. And I think that does make a difference. When you see an officer responding, or you see a prosecutor that you're having to interact with who looks like you, who came maybe from the same neighborhood as you are, I think it sort of cuts down that the trust transition period that can happen. So
I want to ask about members of our community that may be struggling with mental health.
Yeah.
Because that does seem to be kind of the next frontier. So much of criminal justice is caught up in individuals that are just struggling with their mental state.
It's exactly right.
And I know that you've been focusing on it. I know that in terms of our jails in LA County, we're looking at that issue. Talk to us about mental health and how it plays out in the criminal justice system.
Yeah, in the jails, 20 to 25% of the people in the jail are suffering from a serious mental illness. And you should also know that depending upon the charge that they have, if they're in such a state that they're so mentally ill, they actually do more time in jail than someone who's not mentally ill.
Because?
Because in order for them to participate meaningfully in a criminal justice proceeding, they, in fact, have to be able to communicate with their attorney. And in order to do that, many of them have to be forcibly medicated. And that takes time. You have to get a court order. It can't be done in a jail cell. It's got to be done in a hospital cell. So you actually, if you come in and you're seriously mentally ill, you actually may be doing more time. And so it occurred to me that in some instances, we're actually punishing people for being sick. And that's wrong. A lot of us got into the criminal justice system to get the bad guy, to punish the criminal, not to punish those who are sick.
And a lot of those that face mental illness may also face addiction. And I
80%.
And I wanted to ask you about kind of the revolution that is going on in criminal justice in California with Prop 47. Because as you know, with Prop 47, low-level drug offenses are now not wobblers, but misdemeanors. And as I understand it, a lot of these folks are now not diverting into drug court, drug treatment.
Why should they? Why should they? They don't have to. Not only do they not have to, Brad, there's no incentive anymore. You can continue to go on your path and use drugs, do a day or two or a few days in jail. If you have to do a drug program, let's face it, we know people who have had addictions. You're talking about dedicating a year or more to your life to kicking addiction. But who wants that, right? When you could just get out and continue to do what you're doing.
But it shows the kind of, if I can use the cliche, schizophrenia of the public. On the one end, they're frustrated that these low-level marijuana possessors are crowding our jails. But on the other hand, they're not getting the treatment they need.
Well, it's a fallacy that low-level marijuana possessors. We haven't sent anybody to jail for marijuana in 25, 30 years. But that's the public's perception. Most of the people who were going to jail were people who were who were rejecting a drug program and were actually selling in order to support their habit. Those are the people that were flooding the jails. So now we remove the criminal justice system as an incentive. It may work. I don't know. Maybe people will seek help somewhere else. I'm more concerned about the crime rates. I don't want someone who's addicted to drugs out there breaking into your house. I don't want them stealing your car. These things concern me.
And you'll come back and tell us more about it as we look at Prop 47 and
absolutely.
how it plays out.
It's way too early.
Okay.
There's not enough data. But,
her name is Jackie Lacey. She is the District Attorney for Los Angeles County. My name is Brad Pomerance, and this is Charter Local Edition.